And so as the MPP for Windsor-Tecumseh, it's a true honour to be part of our announcement today to welcome Premier Ford and Minister Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, to the City of Windsor, because this is a truly exciting and important announcement for the community. I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Dilkens, all my fellow representatives. I see many members of Windsor City Council in the audience, my colleague from Essex, Anthony Liardi, and everyone here who I see so many faces in the audience, those who really contribute day in and day out to keeping our community a great place and work tirelessly for Windsor's future. Windsor's shown time and time again that we can and do punch above our weight. We tackle challenges, we exceed expectations, and we set an example for communities across the province. And this moment today, it demonstrates what's possible when governments do work together to deliver for our communities. It's truly about building the infrastructure that we need to support families, attract talent, and really sustain long-term growth, while ensuring that Windsor remains a place where opportunity thrives. It's a privilege to be part of that ongoing success story, and with that, it's my sincere privilege to introduce a true champion for the City of Windsor, His Worship Mayor Drew Dilkens.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, and good afternoon, everyone. And I'm here with many of my colleagues on City Council. Councillor Kashak is here, and Francis, and Marignani, Agostino, and Kieran McKenzie. Who did I miss? Because I missed a couple of you at the last announcement. There's Morrison and Sleeman. So we have a quorum, Premier. We can actually hold a meeting, and we hold many meetings in this room. And we have some fun times in this room going back and forth on important issues. But I'll tell you, there's one thing where there's no daylight between us, and that is making sure that we deal with housing issues that are in front of us as a community. And we are making important strides in projects across all major sectors with significant provincial partnership and support. Today's announcements represent large-scale investments in healthcare, economic development, job creation, education, and of course, in housing. And it was my honour to join the Premier, Minister Jones, and the Province of Ontario team earlier today at the new hospital site, where there was an announcement of a major $40 million donation and the naming of the new hospital. And now I'm happy here to have the Premier, along with Minister Flack, our Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, MPP Andrew Dowie and Liardi as well, here at Windsor City Hall. And we're joined by members of Windsor City Council and City Administration. And frankly, folks, we are thrilled. We are absolutely thrilled to receive $5.2 million from the Province of Ontario under the province's Building Faster Fund. Windsor has been identified as one of the most important and fastest growing communities to watch in Ontario and in all of Canada. And as I said earlier today at the hospital site, much of that unprecedented growth and development is closely linked to the vital support that we continue to receive from Premier Ford and the provincial government. With a focus on investment, growth and sustainability, we have worked to leverage all opportunities and meet all challenges that come with this incredible upward growth trajectory. Without question, housing, including supply, including options, access, and affordability, is one of the most significant challenges facing communities everywhere, and it demands support from all levels of government. And that's why Premier Ford and the province announced more than $45 million to help municipalities modernize, streamline, and accelerate processes for managing and improving housing applications, and we took advantage of that fund, Premier. They also set targets for 29 fast-growing municipalities across the province. This was to ensure that Ontario achieves its overall goal of building 1.5 million new homes in a decade. Windsor, of course, was on that list, and we committed to helping realize 13,000 new homes by 2031. We launched Housing Solutions Made for Windsor, identifying several areas that offer incredible potential for development. Our comprehensive, strategic, balanced approach is aimed at increasing the supply of housing and meeting housing targets at an accelerated pace. And this includes opening municipal lands ready for development, a vacant home tax to boost availability of housing stock, and official plan amendments to focus intensification on key areas of the city. In fact, we identified 1,000 acres and nearly 50 kilometres of arterial roads with bus routes available where intensification makes sense for Windsor. We respect the integrity of established neighbourhoods. We respect folks' homes, which are, for many Windsorites, their largest investment. We called on our partners from upper levels of government to help us in our work to be part of the solution for housing. And Premier Ford and the province certainly answered our call, as they always do. And I'm proud of the city for achieving almost 214%, let's say 213% of our 2024 housing target and earning this $5.2 million in support from the province of Ontario. The numbers show what is possible here. In 2024, Windsor's housing achievements included 2,306 housing starts total, including 1,251 housing starts, 466 additional residential units, and 589 post-secondary beds. We had 1,488 permitted residential dwelling units, nearly $350 million in construction value for all residential permits. We had huge 1,686 land use permissions for residential units approved through zoning bylaw amendment, another 1,245 planning approvals for residential units approved through site plan control. Our 2025 year-to-date as of June 2025 includes 527 land use permissions, 1,270 planning approvals for residential units approved through site plan control, building permits issued for 500 dwelling units, and we have a major housing development announcement coming soon. This is combined with other key funding and support from the province of Ontario. You'll recall earlier this year, we announced nearly $19 million in additional funding through the Housing Enabling Infrastructure Program. And that's to help build critical infrastructure, widen Banwell Road, extend Wyandotte Street East, and unlock more than 3,000 housing opportunities. We are poised to make a significant difference on this portfolio moving forward. This $5.2 million from the province of Ontario and the Building Faster Fund will support our ongoing efforts to help build more homes faster in the City of Windsor. On behalf of City Council, City Administration who are here, residents of the City of Windsor, I offer our sincere thanks to Premier Ford, to Minister Flack, who's been an incredible advocate for housing and municipal affairs in the province of Ontario, MPPs Dowie and Liardi, and the entire province for working to protect Ontario and for this latest major investment in building Windsor's future. We are at a pivotal moment in the history of our city. And as I said earlier today, time and time again, you folks here have had our backs in Windsor, Essex. You continue working collaboratively with us to deliver tangible results that are driving growth and development across our entire region. You understand that we are a driving force in Ontario's economic engine, and you have never hesitated to champion our needs at Queen's Park and beyond. From our new hospital, our EV battery factory, to our highways, our roads, our transit, supports for vulnerable residents, and of course housing, you stand with us and you stand for us. So during this time of immense opportunities and complex challenges, and I'm certainly happy to be standing here with Captain Canada, the man who has stepped up on behalf of our province, on behalf of workers in our city, and when there was a gap at the federal level, he stood in and he was Captain Canada, Premier. And we're very thankful for your elbows-up approach and for speaking what we're all feeling here down in our community, that we love our friends in the United States, but they need to do better. Their leader needs to do better and make sure that they're respecting our sovereignty and the economy that we've jointly created together in automotive. We've always said it's like unscrambling the egg if President Trump thinks he's going to do that. But you have our backs, and we appreciate it. And thank you for being a partner, for investing in our community, and for believing in the City of Windsor. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Obviously a great honor to be here with the Premier and my great colleagues, Liardi and Dowie. I can say this, I know the Premier likely will as well, but if there's anything you need in this region, in this part of the world, trust me, the voices are heard loud and clear and consistently, and they deliver for you, and that's what this is all about. Mayor, thank you for your kind words, and you know, as we all know, you're a staunch advocate for our housing industry in your region. I've come to get to know you in the last few years. I won't steal the Premier's words, but you truly are a champion for this region, and you're doing a great job. So it's not a surprise for me today that we're here to announce this. I know the first year you didn't get it, and what did you say earlier? It's like your father used to say, the Premier said, why didn't you do better? Well, 2 years in a row you've done really, really well, and I don't know who else. I'm looking at Scott Collier, wherever he is, who else got 213 or 14% in the province, but tremendous, tremendous results. And for those of you who don't know as well, Mayor Dilkens has chaired and is going to continue to chair our Ontario Housing Policy Implementation Team. He's done it since 2002. He's a great chair, and When I was the Associate Minister of Housing, we got to know each other better, and he certainly served very well in that capacity, so thank you, Mayor, for that. Very good. I can't thank you enough, Drew, for the work that you've done to address the housing crisis in this province and the crisis that's affecting this province. And I think the announcement Premier Ford will make shortly it's a testament to your perseverance in this region, dedication, and your skill and acumen. It's also a pleasure to join, again, MPPs Liardi and Dowie. There's a few events going on these days around in these parts. And when was I down here? Back in the spring at the University of Windsor. Great to see the housing development there and the work you continue to champion. So thank you. You know, being a border town and living in London or just outside of London, I know these parts fairly well. And we know that Windsor and Essex are targets for Trump's tariffs. Mayor, you talked about it, and we know it. However, please know that you have strong leadership in Mayor Dilkens and your MPPs here, Dowie and Liardi, and the support of our entire government, including, as you said, Mayor, Captain Canada, standing right to my left behind me, Premier Doug Ford. I know our leader stands with me when I say our entire caucus is committed to protecting all of Ontario's communities from the headwinds, including Windsor. Folks, we all know that we are in the midst of a serious housing crisis in Ontario, not only in Ontario, but throughout Canada. Our provincial population has grown significantly, and our housing starts just have not kept pace. We know that. We have a supply issue. This is the reality in Ontario today and in many, many other provinces in Canada. We are a population of 16 million people, and I like to tell the Premier it was double from when I was in high school, and I'll steal the words here now. He'll say that was back in the Great Depression or the 1930s, but actually it wasn't. I'm not quite that old. But as a result, costs have risen to the point where families, first-time home buyers and seniors are being priced out of the market. This is not a new story, but it's all too consistent. Our government recognizes this reality has to change and change quickly. That is why we introduced the $1.2 billion Building Faster Fund in 2023, again to reward municipalities that lead by example when it comes to cutting red tape and creating the conditions to get homes built. The province doesn't build the houses. The municipalities do not build the houses. We create the conditions for you to get your stakeholders, your builders, your developers to get the job done. So we're rewarding municipalities who build homes because you know that you cannot build the homes without water access, roads, sidewalks, sewer systems, and more. However, we're not just stopping there. Recently, Bill 17, the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act, became law. It's a very comprehensive piece of legislation that will increase certainty for home builders and reduce the time it takes to get shovels in the ground. Again, creating the conditions for success. It's a significant step in the right direction, creating the conditions home builders need to do what they do best, and that's build homes. And the reality here in Windsor is that indeed is happening in a very strong way. 2,306, 213%, very, very impressive. The stark reality is that it takes too long and it costs too much to build homes in Ontario. We're changing that. Our goal is simple: to ensure more people can own their own piece of Ontario, their own piece of Canada. It is the quintessential Canadian dream for countless of hardworking families right across our province, and it has to be attainable. Along with my colleagues, industry and municipal partners like Mayor Dilkens, we will make the dream of home ownership come true for thousands of Ontario families. We know that building more homes means building better lives, stronger communities, and a brighter future for the people of this great province. So thank you very much. It's now my pleasure to turn it over to Captain Canada, Premier Doug Ford. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be back here in Windsor, and I always tell the mayor, I said there's 444 municipalities. No one's received more love from the province and Windsor, and just wonderful people. I just love coming here. I want to thank Minister Flack, along with our local representatives, as you've heard, Andrew Dowie and Anthony Liardi, and of course Mayor Dilkens, champions, all of them. And I have to give our two local MPPs a real shout out, because they're down there in caucus and jumping up and down, as I always say, when it comes to anything to do with Windsor or Essex, and they're a very, very loud voice. And I just want to thank the mayor again. Mayor, thank you for everything that you do for hosting us here, and I got to thank the councillors too. You know I've said this before, but I walked a mile in your shoes, and try having your brother as a boss. Okay, so Mayor Dilkins is a good boss, but in the city staff too. I know from my years in council down at the City of Toronto, nothing happens without the council and the staff supporting it. So everyone needs a big shout out. And again, thank you for everything you're doing. Folks, we all know this is a serious time for our province and our country, with President Trump taking direct aim at our economy. Our government is doing everything in its power to cut red tape and make Ontario and Canada the strongest economy in the G7. As I always say, the foundation of our healthcare, of our education, of our infrastructure is our economy. And without our economy, we don't get the new hospitals and the new schools and the infrastructure, the highways, and so on and so forth. So we have to make sure it's very attractive for companies around the world. And we've done that, and we need to have continuous improvement, constantly looking at ways to create more opportunities. And the numbers came out a few weeks ago, direct foreign investment. And thanks to Windsor and every other municipality, the numbers were strong. This is excluding all the expansions that we saw. But in 2024, we saw 409 companies, foreign companies, come here to invest. And they invested $39.875 billion, so let's say $40 billion, and create 25,000 new jobs. That's how we're going to beat President Trump, making sure we're more competitive than they are. And when we aren't competitive, well, they go elsewhere. So we'll make sure we continue to make Windsor and this whole region and Ontario a very competitive place to invest. In the past 4.5 years, Ontario has attracted $46 billion of investment, be it in vehicle manufacturing and the EV battery supply chain, and that represents over 50,000 direct jobs here in Windsor and across Ontario, including the new $5 billion Stellantis plant, the battery plant. We're keeping an eye on that, a sharp eye on that, and right here in Windsor, which will help secure Ontario's place as North American hub for building the cars and the batteries of the future. In the face of tariffs from President Trump, our government will always have the backs of the auto workers and any manufacturing workers. That means equipping them with the skills and the supports to keep them on the job no matter what. And I've always said I won't spare a penny to make sure we protect communities, businesses, protect families and their jobs. We're also making record investments in roads, highways, transit, hospitals, schools, and homes. Through our $200 billion plan to build Ontario, we're preparing for growth and keeping workers on the job. Here in Windsor, we're expanding Highway 3 from 2 to 4 lanes. I got to check on how that's coming along. It's coming along good. Okay. We've got to keep it going. Between Essex and Leamington, we're also building a brand new interchange connecting Highway 401 to the future Lausanne Parkway extension, all to keep people moving and goods flowing. Across Ontario, we're investing close to $60 billion to build and upgrade hospitals, 50 sites across the province, including a new acute care hospital for Windsor and Essex County. Plus, we're investing up to $30 million to renovate and expand cardiac and cancer care at Windsor Regional Hospital, connecting more people in southwestern Ontario to life-saving care closer to home. And that's not all. We're also making major investments in housing-enabling infrastructure, including more than $18.8 million to support more than 3,000 new homes right here in Windsor. And today, I'm here with even more good news. 2 years ago, our government established the Building Faster Fund to encourage municipalities to speed up approvals and get homes built faster. Over the past few months, I should say, I've traveled across the province, handing out Building Faster Fund checks to reward cities that have made real progress getting shovels in the ground. Today, I'm delighted to announce that you've heard already, the City of Windsor has done an incredible job. Matter of fact, I have to tell you, I've never seen anyone achieving 213%. So you're the Ontario champs, and I'll hand out the gold medals later, but no one's hit 213% of its 224 housing target. So it's my pleasure to announce the city will receive the $5.2 million check there through the BFF. This money can be used for housing and community infrastructure to get even more homes built in the years to come. And again, I just want to thank the mayor, the staff, which is, I keep emphasizing the staff is so important, and the councillors too, because it's all about, the leadership starts with you, Mayor, but everyone else pitches in. And I got to tell you, he's an absolute champion for the City of Windsor. And I'm just so pleased, not just to work with him, but call the mayor my friend. We talk frequently, and anything the mayor needs, he knows, he just picks up the phone and gives me a call. And I hope that this money will be used to help to get even more homes built, so I can come back with a bigger check, hopefully double the amount of a check. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. And I have to tell you, folks, as I mentioned just at the hospital that I was at, and we have two choices with President Trump. You roll over or you fight like we've never fought before. And I think all 41 million Canadians would rather fight like they've never fought before. We're going to get through this. There'll be a few bumps in the road, but we're going to make ourselves the most competitive jurisdiction anywhere in the G7 for companies to come here and attract. And no matter if it's the economic development departments within your regions, or Vic Fideli flying all over the world and attracting new companies. And I had a meeting with Vic the other day, our Minister of Economic Development and Trade, and we saw a list, 3 pages long. And as he said, the pipeline is absolutely jammed with companies that want to come here. And I'll tell you, when you create that environment and conditions for companies to come here, they'll come here. But our number one selling feature are the people. We have the highest skilled people anywhere in the entire world. We graduate 70,000 STEM graduates, and some right in this area. But that's not it. We're going to move that up to 100,000. And no U.S. state can say they're graduating 70,000, not to mention 100,000. And I met with a few companies, and the first thing that came out of their mouth, Mayor, was the talent pool here. You can't beat the talent pool, no matter if it's the tech sector, the health sector, or the manufacturing sector. We have the best of the best. But we're never going to give up. We're going to fight like we've never fought, as I mentioned earlier. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. It's Team Ontario, Team Canada. And there's one thing President Trump has done. One thing. That's the only credit I'm going to give this guy, is he's united the country. He's united the country no matter what political stripe you're from. We're all Canadians. We're all Ontarians. And we're going to fight like no tomorrow. But thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We will now take questions from the media. Please come to the microphone and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. We'll take the first question.
Sanjay Mara from CTV News. Question for the Premier here. So St. Joseph's Hospital in London recently ended a controversial program involving testing on dogs, something you recently tweeted about. Could you explain why this work was even permitted to happen and whether any oversight mechanisms were in place at the provincial level?
Yeah, good question. I found out on social media, and I'm thinking, that's pretty cruel. It's unbelievable. Full disclosure, I'm an animal lover, dog lover, but that doesn't matter. You just can't be doing that. I understand the mice, the rats, maybe a rabbit, but these poor little beagles, you look at their face, and whoever, leaked it out, I want to thank them, because this was all done in secret. That's another frustrating thing. So, of course, now I've directed our team to start hunting down anyone else doing research on dogs or cats. It's unacceptable. Imagine your little dog being there and they try to put him into a heart attack. A poor thing. I mean, that's terrible, 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 inhumane. So they're done, they're gone. And just a message, if you're doing this with dogs or cats, you got to stop before I catch you. Simple as that. Can't be doing this. Matter of fact, we're going to legislate this. We're going to make it very simple. You aren't going to be going after animals like that.
Given the public reaction and serious ethical concerns, you kind of alluded to it there, but will your government commit to an official review to, create some accountability for what happened here?
Yeah, we'll look into it. That's for sure through the Minister of Colleges and Universities. But I think we just legislate it and ban it. There's no reason we need to be using poor little dogs, right, or cats or anything like that. It's just unacceptable. It's cruel. It's inhumane.
Hello, Premier. Megan
Hi.
from AM 800 News.
Hi, Megan.
Tariffs have obviously been top of mind, especially here in Windsor, Essex, by being a border city. What are the next steps in terms of talks with the Prime Minister and other premiers across Canada to keep ensuring that working individuals are protected?
Well, I'm going to see the Prime Minister up in Ottawa. I think it's next week. When is it, Jules? Monday, okay. See, I listen to the boss there. So Monday I'm going up to have a one-on-one meeting with the Prime Minister, and I've told him how I feel. We got to create the environment, and just a few things we can do can really change things. Number one, we're taxed to death. Simple as that. And highest tax bracket's 54%. And believe me, you don't have to be making millions to be at 54%. You make a couple $100 grand and 54%, and when you go out shopping, all the taxable goods that you buy, so we're left with nothing in our pockets. And Economics 101, put money into people's pockets. They're going to go out and spend it as simple as going out for dinner, buying a pair of sneakers, buying jeans. That stimulates the economy. And that $3 billion we gave back to the taxpayers this year, they went out and they spent it, and I'm happy they did spend it. And then you do the same for the companies. That's actually, the companies even probably more important. You reduce the corporate tax. When I had our facility, when I opened up in 98, 99, and in the U.S. in Chicago, going into 2000, the Canadian corporate tax was lower than the U.S. So let's beat Trump at his own game. Let's make this the most competitive place in the world, because companies nowadays have choices. They're either going to go to a competitive place with great, smart people, or they're going somewhere else, and they're going to get lower taxes. And we need to lower those taxes to create an environment for companies to invest. So when I came into office, the budget was $150 billion. We saw $70 billion of investment. We grew the revenues to $70 billion. I'd never raise a tax. I don't have to. I will never raise a tax, because it's counterintuitive to have people invest. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to make sure we're competitive. So number one, lower taxes. Number two, let's get rid of the HST. I will follow that on anyone that buys a home, not just new home buyers, but anyone. And let's do it to a point of 2 years, so it puts pressure on the market. If you go out there and say we're getting rid of it for 10 years, well, everyone's going to la-di-da, la-di-da. Let's lower that, right? In 2 years, lower the HST. That's massive amounts of savings for people. When you're buying a home, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, or even $1 million, that saves a lot of money. And I don't know your development charges here, but I'll just speak for Toronto. Before you get shovels in the ground, it's like $140,000, $150,000. It's over more than 200, it's probably closer to $300 a square foot. So they have to pitch in as well. And the last thing, message to the Governor of the Bank of Canada, you have to lower those interest rates. We're at 2.75%. You said you'd lower them if we were below 2% inflation. We're at 1.9%. Start creating the environment. You play a massive role in making sure our economy goes. So you can't be sitting back. And in my opinion, just my personal opinion, the economy at this point in time trumps inflation. We can hold inflation, but you have to lower interest rates. And then people will go out there and buy homes. So you put those few things together, and our economy is going to take off like that. This is a no-brainer. So me and my friend up in Ottawa, we're going to have a heart-to-heart. Well, he knows how I feel already, but he's doing a good job, by the way, too.
Is there still heavy concern about the automotive plants here locally as well? Obviously, we've seen the impacts at the Windsor Assembly Plant and other feeder plants over the last few months. Are you in talks with any of the automotive plants, such as Stellantis or Ford, to ensure that local workers are protected?
Yes, we've been reaching out to them, talking, but, you know, my message to the U.S., and if I go on U.S. media, be it CNN or whoever, my message to the Americans, this does not work. Tariffs do not work. I've been listening to Ronald Reagan a lot, and, you know, tariffs are terrible for the global economy. What it does is reduce competitiveness, and it has more of a monopoly. People rely on government handouts, and what that causes? That causes inflation. So it does not work, and proof is in the pudding. I've been pounding the president and Howard Lutnick, Secretary Lutnick. You're doing nothing but hurting the American people. When you tariff Canadians, you're hurting Americans, and proof is in the pudding now. The auto sector, you heard, is $6.5 billion they've lost. And that's just the beginning. It's just going to continue. And the mayor mentioned it. I've always said you can't unscramble an egg. You got to make the omelet larger. And let's grow together. Let's create the AmCan fortress. That's what we need to do. And then Procter & Gamble announced $1 billion loss, and Mattel and Walmart, and that list goes down. And they don't even have enough workers to fill the jobs down in the U.S. So, folks, let's just keep focusing on what we can do. And that's what I've said to the premiers and the prime minister. Yeah, always keep an eye on Trump, but let's focus on how we can be more competitive and be the greatest jurisdiction in the world. We got the critical minerals. We have the energy. We're leading the G7 in nuclear energy that everyone wants. We're leading the world with small modular reactors. So we have everything going for ourselves. So I appreciate the question. Sorry, I'm getting a little passionate today about this because that guy drives me crazy down south, I'll tell you, and 41 million other Canadians. So.
Hi, Premier. Madeline Mazak from the Windsor Star. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Thank you.
I have two questions for you about the announcement we're here for. The first being, not every municipality across the province has managed to surpass their housing targets like the City of Windsor has been able to do. What do you think the challenges are for them not meeting that number, and how confident are you that the province will still be able to hit the 1.5 million housing target, considering that?
We'll do, good question. We'll do everything we can to hit the targets, and I think they have to meet up to, I think it's 80% of their target, and then they get something. But I've seen with 444 municipalities, there's people like the city council here and the staff and the mayor that just exceed it. I have not seen 213%. If you want to build, you will build. And then there's some, I won't name names, they're NIMBYs. And they're the first to get out there and say, we need more homes. Well, by the way, you aren't building in our backyard. You aren't building in our neighborhood. There's no way you're doing that. So that doesn't cut it. Everyone has to give a little bit and put housing where it belongs, not in the middle of a neighborhood. And I'm glad you're still with us on not putting these 4-story, 6-story. You can't go into a developed neighborhood with bungalows and everything. All of a sudden someone decides to put a 4- or 6-story building, and the feds, which I totally disagree with, you agree with us or we aren't giving you the money. That's ridiculous. Look at Mayor Dilkins and the council. They did it. They hit 213% without having to put 4-story, 6-story buildings. So stay strong with that, because I'll tell you, the people do not want that in their neighborhoods. Now, on transit in Toronto, yeah, you have a transit station, you're getting high rises. It's density, right? So.
Well, your government recently changed the metric system for counting what is considered housing. You included long-term care beds, student housing, retirement. How do you justify that to hardworking Ontarians, families who are still in the market and looking for affordable family homes?
What about including long-term care? A lot of these people are leaving their homes, leaving their condos, opening it up, and we're actually physically building these homes for them. They don't like calling them beds, these seniors, because they feel like it's just a bed. No, it's an actual home. When you go into some of these long-term care homes, so if you don't have them there, you're going to take up another condo, another apartment. So we need more long-term care, which we're building at a rapid pace, and along with seniors living homes too.
This will be the last reporter.
Hi there, Premier. It's Chris Ensing with CBC News out in Windsor.
Chris.
We've got a question on tariffs and the economy here. The Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses did a survey of members and found that the tariff relief programs launched by Ontario, they didn't work for small or medium businesses. That was a month ago that report was released. Have you changed anything following that feedback?
Well, we put over $30 billion into protecting Ontario, but the other announcement you'll hear tomorrow, we're releasing another $5 billion. I think we're going to start $1 billion tomorrow, and then just keep adding. We're going to focus on helping small businesses. We're going to really focus on the auto sector and the steel sector. They're the ones that are really getting hit the hardest. So we're rolling out the money, and I won't hesitate to keep rolling it out, because I know we're going to get through this, and we're going to come out stronger than ever before. And what we're going to do as well, we're onshoring. We're going to onshore all these products. I love using the aluminum can scenario. We don't have an aluminum can like the Molson beer and Labatt's that Flacky loves to drink all the time. That can actually comes from the U.S. It gets printed, gets converted, so the aluminum gets 25% tariff down, 25% tariff back. And I sat back and thought, boy, you got the Pepsis, the Cokes, the craft brewers, you got Molson's, Labatt's. Like, what are we doing buying the cans down there when we have access to our aluminum? Let's produce it here. So guess what? We have aluminum can companies coming here saying we want to do it. Same with tin cans too. Our friends at Primo down the street, up in your area, I think, Anthony, they're saying, well, by all means, I don't want to buy our tins anymore. All the food manufacturers we had at Queen's Park, and the total is about, they use about 1.25 billion cans. Again, that tin comes from DeFasco, gets shipped out to California, it gets converted and comes back. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I-beams, steel beams too, same thing. We're going to start manufacturing steel beams here. And anything that we can onshore, we can onshore because we have the market here. We buy $359 billion worth of products off the U.S. That's more than Japan, China, Korea, UK, and France combined. So we don't have to take a backseat to anyone, and we sure don't have to take a backseat to President Trump. We need to go full steam.
Just a question on border security here. After a person was arrested for allegedly crossing from the U.S. to our region in a kayak last week, another person allegedly crossed from Sarnia into the U.S. on a stolen Sea-Doo on the weekend. Our harbor master says that these are common incidents and more needs done. The province has already announced Operation Deterrence to stop these breaches at the border, but how does it keep happening?
Well, first of all, and this isn't the present Prime Minister's problem, it was the previous Prime Minister that weren't funding border agencies, the Canadian Border Agency properly. They're short thousands of patrol officers. And even in Windsor, and Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had the Windsor police boat patrolling the river instead of CBS, like CBSA. Really? You're relying on the Windsor police, a small police service to patrol? No, that's unacceptable. We went out, now we bought a helicopter for this region. So the OPP, which is unusual, they're patrolling. Operation Deterrence is patrolling up and down our borders, which should be CBSA. And by the way, I want to thank the CBSA officers. They're all champions. But they need more help. They need more resources. So hopefully the Prime Minister will give them more resources. But we can't have the great police officers of Windsor, out there patrolling our borders. They have enough issues they got to take care of on the land.
Thank you. This concludes today's press conference.
Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it, and God bless you.